Welcome to the Infinity Evolved on the FTOG server. It's been a little while since I've done a flyover, so I thought we'd do one in this episode just to see how things have changed and progressed on since the last one. And this side of the spawn area is actually just outside of the render distance, so it does take a little while to load in. Although it's doing much better this time. Right, so there's the tree farm, Grok's place, TDC's place, not loaded into the side here, of course, is Renovate's house. And you can see, of course, that there's our train track that we worked on in a previous episode, which goes into Town Hall. And I've extended it out further so it goes out to one of the new guys on the server called Raz. He's built a charcoal farm out in this direction, and that's what we're working on this episode. It's actually setting up some rail to get to his location. But as you can see, some things have changed, some things haven't. Some people, or a lot of people, are moving out because of a drop in frames. We do have a new member on the server who, here we go, set up base just behind here. And I'll have a link down to his channel in the description. Okay, so in the last episode, we were working on power. And as you can see, I'm now full on power. I've upgraded the generators here to be 8 times generators, and the whole thing's putting at about 2,400 RF per tick. So the capacity here fills up pretty quickly. Some of the other changes I made is I put a redstone emitter here, just so that when we fill up on the raw materials, we'll actually turn off the harvester. And as you can see, it's just turned off because something's required power. And I've also moved all the raw materials out of the chest here into some jabber barrels here, so that they're a little bit separated and out of the way, and it doesn't overtake what's actually in the chest. Otherwise though, it's going pretty well. And we're making, as I said, we're filling up the power, so that's awesome. I have had to make some changes to the factory manager. As you can see, it's been tidied up. I've moved everything into groups just to make it easy to find, and I've split tofu away from burger, and I'll get into why I've done that in a moment. So the new stuff is we've got the barrels, which is just basically taking the items out of our input chest and sticking it into the appropriate barrels, somewhere around here. So there's your barrel there, and just sticking them into there, so we just could keep the inventory, the actual input inventory, clean. The trigger harvester is what's doing the stalling the harvester here, and it's just a basic trigger with a condition. The condition is that the input chest, which includes all the barrels as well, contains all the various things. So it says 64 pineapples, 64 soybeans, 256 wheat because I was running a bottleneck on wheat, and 64 beets. And that just ensures, one, that we don't overload the input chest, but it also ensures that we can turn off the harvester and we're not collecting more stuff and just overloading ourselves with extras. And these are just 2 redstone emitters, one being if it's the true condition. So we have, if we've got all of these in stock, then we will actually turn the redstone emitter. We'll turn the redstone emitter on, so that we can. So there's the redstone emitter. It's on all sides, it's outputting a signal 15. So it actually says off, but it's actually turning it on, because of course the redstone emitter will turn off the harvester, and it's not pulsing. And of course the on is just the opposite, so the emitter is the same, side's the same, output, we're just setting as 0, which then means that it will, when we don't have enough stock and it's any items in there, so if we suddenly run low on pineapples, it will start harvesting everything and collecting it up, which means we will still hit backlog, but hopefully it won't be for very long. So one of the other things I changed is under generators. I've actually put an RF condition on there, and that is because I was eating for a lot of burgers and I wasn't sure why. Tracking it down, it turns out that the burgers were being put in there one at a time, and if the generator had a very small amount of power left, it would then eat the burger, generate power, and put the power nowhere. So what I've done here is I've basically said if the culinary generators have less than 5,000, then it will start putting our original beet rule in there. So there's our beet burger, and just putting 1 in there like before. So I've split these off, so that there is now a tofu rule. And the reason I've done this, we were seeing a little bit of lag, and it seemed to be the tofu that might be causing, but I've since found that it isn't. But I've now also limited the amount of tofu we have. So we're still inputting as normal. We go from soy milk to silken, and silken to firm. And if there is less than 60 tofu, or silken tofu, or soy milk, then we will go down the false path, or this path here, and we'll then take the soybeans and make them to milk. And that ensures that when we start, if we've got less than 60, we make more, and if we've got more than 60, it'll just stop the whole process. It's not accurate in that it will be exactly 60, but it will be pretty close. And the burgers, just added a trigger. Nothing really special there. So one of the other changes I made, and probably quite an important one, is we found there was a bit of lag on the server, and it seemed to be originating from here. And when I was investigating, I found that it was always taking the skillet out. Even though it wasn't actually making any fried eggs, and it had hit the 10 limit, which we've set in the previous episode, it was actually still taking out the skillet every time, and then treating it as a excess inventory and putting it back in the chest. And it was just constantly doing that every second, which seemed to cause lag quite extensively. So I just really put that limit here of less than 10 fried eggs, and it's just a standard thing. We basically say if there is, in the input chest, if there is 10 fried eggs, then of course we'll go down the path, down the false path, and it will just do the same process as before. So it'll make 10 fried eggs and then stop, which is the same as what we had here. Of course we had the 10, but of course it just adding the extra step in there to avoid going down that path unless we have to. Everything else here I think is the same. So in this episode we're going to be working on the rail again, hoping for a little bit shorter episode, but we're going to be working on the actual having multiple trains. And you saw from the flyover that we've got the new path in, and so the plan is to have a rail going or a train going in there, and it will go over to Raz's charcoal farm that he's made, and of course that will pick up the charcoal, take it back through town hall, and dump it at the rail yard, so that we can actually fill them up, because we are running low on charcoal there, and it's really helpful to have charcoal. Now, of course, we could use ender chests, and there are places where the ender chests have been used, but it is expert mode, which means we should be finding expert ways of doing things. And ender chests are an expensive recipe, they're also the really easy recipe to do. So, having a transport method is great, and that's why we're tackling this whole Railcraft thing and having cargo rail going all over the place, because it's just so much cooler to have a rail, and why not? Now, I have been looting a few chests. You can see that I'm wearing some overalls. And these are Railcraft overalls, which should hopefully stop me being hit by the train and being killed, although I'm not willing to test that. But they are designed for actually working on the railway and protecting you. And it says protects against the dangers of track working. Normally you use these if you're working with electric locomotives and electric rail, because they'll stop you being electrocuted. Don't ask me how. They're obviously really powerful rubber-based overalls. But and while I'm here, while I was looting chests, I found these slippers. And I have found that these slippers are really cool. Let's go play with them. So we have a lake here. Yeah? Normally when you're walking in a lake, it's quite slow. Well, with these slippers on, I actually walk faster. And these were just an item I found in a chest, and they're actually provided by Biomes Of Plenty. So, quite impressive actually. But like the 1.8 enchantments that you put on your boots, they don't provide any protection, but still, they're pretty cool. And I could walk across this whole thing. I can even sprint across it, and it doesn't have any effect. So I thought I'd put those out. As you can see, I built this out. I've got little lights here in the FTOG colours. And this basically, as I said, just heads off to Raz's tree farm / charcoal farm. And we're going to bring that back to the rail yard so we can process it and use it as fuel. And that really is the plan for today's episode. And it just goes off over to here. There's not much to look at the moment in the station area. But there's this tree farm up there. And he processes the charcoal down in the hill. And it will get pumped into the item loaders and then put into trains. But of course that will then mean we've got 2 trains on the track. If not including Thor's trains as well. So, the idea in today, we're going to need to be able to actually make the trains be able to pass each other. So as you can see, I've been looking up signals, and this is so that we can make our what are called block signals. And what these do is you can set between 2 points on a track and keep track of if there's a train on there. And it works a bit like traffic lights, in that if there is a train or a locomotive on the track, the light will be black, the light will be red, and if the rail is clear, the light will be green. And also, if you're following behind another locomotive, the light will be orange. In this case, we just can set up basic block signals, which says between this point and this point. And we'll set up some redstone signals and some locking tracks in order to work with them. So to make a block signal, we need to make obviously a block signal. We will need a signal circuit and a signal lamp. A signal lamp is just some glass panes with some light green or lime green dye, yellow dye and red dye, plus some glowstone and some redstone, and that will give you 1 signal lamp. So hopefully I've got enough to make those. If I've got enough for 2, I'll just make 1 for now. And then we also need to make a signal circuit, which consists of 2 yellow wool, gold ingot, 2 redstone, a lapis lazuli, and a redstone repeater, which is just a standard vanilla recipe, and a ball of glue, or pink slime, or something. And since we've got the slime farm, it does make it really easy to do. So, what's going on there? Is that the glass? Yes, it is. So that will make us a signal circuit. And then we also need some black dye, which I don't seem to have. Ink. Oh, look at that, one left. So we put that into there. Well, what's going on here? Okay, so that makes one block signal. What I'm going to do is craft up a collection of these, and I'll do some more work. I also, when I was out searching, I found a signal block surveyor, which we'll need to be able to connect the signals together. As you can see, you can find them in a Railcraft workshop, which is what I found. Not a terribly difficult recipe though if you need to make it. Just a vanilla Minecraft compass, couple of plain buttons, a glass pane, and some redstone. And we'll need that to link, as it says, link signals into signal blocks. And we're also going to need to make a signal tuner. And this is going to be used for the receivers, which will need. So a signal block, you can get a signal out of, a redstone signal to say if there's something on it or something not. And that way we can stop our trains, because by default, you can have a signal block there, and it's really just an indication that something's on the track. If you have something on the track, you want to do something with it. For example, in our case, we're going to put in a second rail and divert trains into that rail, and if something is coming, it won't let the locomotive leave until that train has left. So in this case, to make the signal tuner, we're going to need a receiver signal, which is the same recipe as before, just with green wool instead. And we can make quite a few of those apparently. We only really need one at the moment though. So we're going to need a redstone torch, which is not too difficult to make. We'll make one of those. And then we will need to make the signal tuner, which also requires some buttons. 2 of those. Get rid of that guy. And then into the signal tuner, do that. One signal tuner. And that'll link the 2 receivers together. We're also going to need a signal block relay box for anywhere where there's a corner. So what I'll do though is, actually no, I'll craft this up. And that's just a couple of these guys. Some iron ingots and some redstone, and that's it. It's not a hard recipe, so I'll click that there. And that gives a signal relay box. Or a signal block relay. And what actually that does is when you put down your block signals, for example, you can do that. It'll only follow a path in front of it. The moment you turn off, for example, if you go this way, it will no longer see that path because it only follows straight along. So a relay box allows you to set it so that it will catch the signal from here to here, and then this one here would continue this way. Now in this configuration, of course, it's not going to work because we do need another signal, a block signal, and there's no rail. So what I'll do is I'll make up some more of these, and we should be using our cribber. I'll craft some more of these up, and I'll meet you at the track. Okay, so ignore all the stuff here. I'm going to work on getting the rail to do some magical stuff when it comes out of there without actually going through and dropping its items off, but we'll deal with it later. Currently what we need to do is we need to place a block signal, probably about there. Now I can't put it here and face it that way because it then will read this as being the rail. Whereas we actually need it to read this one here as the rail. And the other one we will place all the way down here. And of course, this is still an active rail, so we don't really want to be standing on the rail too much. And as you can see, I've upgraded the tunnel since you last saw it. These are all just stone slabs, just to give it a bit of a feel. And I think we'll make it for now. We'll just put it there. Now, if we hit it with the signal block survey, it will say beginning signal block survey, and the signal will flash yellow indicating it's in programming mode. Whereas beforehand it was flashing red, which indicates it's not linked to anything. If we then go back up here to the original signal, and we hit the survey with it now says successfully defined signal block down the bottom in the chat window there. And of course it's turned green. Now the reason it's turned green is because there is nothing on the track. But if we go over here and let's just grab one of these guys for now, if I can. Okay. Now these will work with locomotives, or they'll work with minecarts. As you can see, I just put the minecart there and instantly turn red. And on the other side, it'll also be red. If this starts moving, for example, if we do that, it should... No, in theory, if it's moving that way, it'll turn yellow. But it's obviously not moving fast enough. Yeah. But they'll normally turn yellow to indicate that there is a train in front, but you probably won't run into it. And you can then use that output for other purposes. Oops. Oh, that's cool. Change the direction. So we could possibly do that. Now it's linked up. I don't like that. Well, I wonder if we do that and we stick it there, see if that'll link up properly. If we then click there, yeah, so it won't let me do that because of the T-junction. So I'll go back a bit here. In fact, if we go to here and we sneak right click, it'll abandon that setup and it will turn back to red. If we click there, it'll go back into programming mode, and that way I can move it over here without having to come back. So, take this guy out again and stick him there, hit it with the surveyor, and there we go, successfully defined signal block. Now, as I said, this will just do this one row. If, however, you're going around a corner, you need to place a relay box in. So for now, of course, we are linked to here. But in order to, if we wanted to track this one, we would need to get rid of this and place down our signal block relay box. And of course, it can be situated. You can normally put it on the ground. There you go. Make sure it needs to be one further back. So take that on there, stick that there, and then we'll put that there. And place the slab back there. So now what we can do is we can link this guy, and it works exactly the same way as the other one. In fact, how about cancel that? Cancel that. We'll start on the other side. So we'll click there, which will start our signal. And if we now click on this, signal block is not valid. Ah, yes, that's right. It needs to be on the corner of the rail, so either here or here, so it can see up the rail and onto the signal block, but it'll also be able to see that way. So if we put it there as an example, place that there, put that guy back, hit that. There you go. So successfully define the signal block. And we do need to end it, so we go over to here, and we'll just use this very unfinished part of the track for now. And we'll say probably stick it there. Right, we can now attach that one in much the same way to there. Okay, so now we've got this guy linked up to here. And as you can see, he's green, and the other guy should be green as well. So we put down our minecart. Let's just put it there. It should now be red. Yes. And we go down here. It's also red because, of course, it's on the track it's following. And as you can see, this guy here is also red because there is a cart on that side piece of the track. Now, of course, by itself, having a red signal means nothing, because the train's still going to come in here, it's going to ignore it completely. What we need to do now is set it up so if this guy is red, it'll actually trigger a locking track here, and that way the train that's going this way, any trains that are going this way, won't then join in until the signal goes green. Now I think we need something else for that. So let's go make the extra bits we need for that, and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I have made a signal receiver box, which is just one of the receiver circuits again, which is the green wool one, and some iron ingots and redstone. And what we can do with those is they will take the signal from these guys, and the block signals, and they'll pipe it into another location. So we probably need to move this guy because it is redstone based. We'll just move it to there for now. And we'll place the receiver box there. And a locking track right next to it. And now, if we grab our signal tuner, we can right click this guy. As you see, once again, it starts flashing yellow. And we right click this guy, or shift, right click, there we go. And as you can see, now it's turned red, which means that it is currently not emitting a redstone signal. Because if we go get rid of our minecart,
so this should not be a reading signal. Yep. Bring here.
it'll now be a green here, which means this guy is now green, as you can see, and it's emitting a redstone signal, which means that this locking track will now no longer be in an active mode. Now, of course, we do need to change it, probably to train lockdown mode, which will mean that when the train first passes, if it's currently off, so it's locking the train, it'll hold the train there. And the moment that the signal turns green, it'll let the train go past, and it stays on for a little bit longer to let all the carriages and carts and stuff like that go past as well. So if we go into here and we place our minecart down again, as you can see, it changes state. So I need to do that on the other side as well. Now, one thing this will cause is if the train is waiting here and another train comes along here, of course, the moment it gets to here, it's going to release the train, which means this guy's going to go and poof, he's going to be hit. So we probably should actually move this guy a little bit further back so there's a small amount of room where the track is not in use. So let's move it to, let's put it about there. So we need to put the locking track down. Now you can actually use these receiver boxes for actual wireless redstone as well. They work really well for that. You just need to have your signal tuner, and these guys here have a built-in signal controller box. So if we look in here, the signal controller box, there's just one of these. It's a controller red wool, pretty much the same recipe otherwise. And you can place that down next to a redstone signal, lever, whatever, have it connected up to one of these receiver boxes, and it will output a signal when needed. And I believe you can also right click. Yep, right click with the crowbar, and it will give you the interface to change when it emits a signal. So for example, if it's getting a green aspect, which is no redstone signal, it'll emit a redstone signal. But you could say that if it's getting a red, then it will emit it instead. And same with blink yellow, blink red, and all the other various options that are there. So it's going to be quite powerful if you need it to do other things besides Railcraft trains. But place it to there, and there you go, so it's back on again. And we probably should put a track there. So now of course it will come around, the train will, any train that comes in will hold here if there's anything on that track. Hopefully by the time it gets around, it won't be going at full speed or anything, and it will get around to here and it won't crash into the train. Another way we could do it is make it so that the block signal actually curves around here and then it's actually stopped here, so the train has to be off the track first. And I might do that if I detect any problems with it, but for now it won't be a problem. Okay, so we now have a rail going between the charcoal farm and our rail yard. So I think I'll call the episode here. As I said, it should be a little bit of a shorter episode than the last few. And if you've liked the video, please do hit that like button. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or just want to say hi, leave a comment down below. If you're new to the channel and you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to go check out the other FTOG community members. They're doing some really cool things. It's a shame about the loss of frame rate inside Spore, but they are still remain part of the community. But otherwise, have a great day and see ya!